minutes away from putting the 2014 recruiting class to bed. It's been a good year, but we've got one that we're waiting on that should be in the next 15, 20 minutes. So we can't talk about that one, but it has been a good day. It's been a long year process. We started, our calendar year starts again tomorrow, so this is the end of the year for us in terms of recruiting and playing, and now we got to get ready for another season starting tomorrow. But this was a good day to finish on. It's been a very tough recruiting season in terms of weather, one of the most difficult I've ever been around. But I think that at the end of the day, we filled exactly what we needed to. We've got speed, and I always talk about this. If you don't have speed on your football team, you're not going to win. So we went out all areas of the country. We recruited players from 9 states, and I thought we had a very good class. Some are already on campus, and then we have like 20 that signed today that will come in June. So we're excited about that mixture of offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers. We took 2 quarterbacks, 1 running back, a couple of wide receivers. But the main thing is that we got a variety in certain positions, and a lot of guys can play different positions. So I think that's always important. Sometimes you go out, this guy's, a big-time linebacker, and you sign him, and he ends up being a defensive end 2 years later. So you really don't know what these guys are going to be. I want them to play what they want to play, but sometimes they develop into another type of person or player in a couple of years. But the prognosis of what all these guys can do, again, they can run. And we're going to build this team, continue to build it on each year with speed and quickness. But it was fun recruiting a lot of these guys. We were able to flip a couple of players from other schools, from the SEC, which was good. We were actually in on some players, and I like to do this. I like to go out and find our own guys, players that we predict and project are going to be good football players. One, Chris Ferguson, kid we signed from Orlando. He moved from the Bahamas 2 years ago and played football the last 2 years. Darren Henshaw knew the coach very well. We kept hearing about the player, kept watching him on film, and he's 6'6", 280 pounds. He can run. He's a specimen. Of course, we bring him in, we recruit him, we get him committed. Everybody else in the country goes in and starts recruiting him. But he stuck with us all the way through. And that's what you like about recruiting. Kids stand up for what they say, and they stick with you, and understand that their words are bond. So it was a fun time going through all these kids. We had a lot of good kids here. There were some kids that we didn't get, obviously that went other places, but that happens. But we got our share. We got a group that I think can help us win the championship next year, and the year after, and the year after that. Some of these guys will play next year, especially the junior college players. Jared Evans, for instance, quarterback coming in. He'll be vying for the starting spot as quarterback next year. He's 6'2", 180 pounds. He can really run, he can really throw. He was set up at junior college, and we needed somebody else to come in and give us some depth and give us some competition at that position. So overall, if you get linemen on your team, I think we signed 4 offensive linemen, 5 defensive linemen. Then it's going to give you an opportunity down the road to have success. We went a little bit heavier on defense than we did on offense because of the numbers on that side of the ball. Again, you got to keep it as balanced as you possibly can. We still have 2 remaining scholarships that we haven't given, and I always do that at the end of the year. For instance, last year we signed Gunnar Kiel in the summer. Had we not had a scholarship, we would not have been able to get him. Mikael McKay, if we had not had a scholarship, we would not have been able to sign him. And so I always save a couple, either for new players or for walk-ons, guys that earn scholarships, and it always makes your football team better. So it's almost over. As we speak, we should be signing the last guy. Again, we'll have a couple more scholarships left, and we'll take our time looking through those as we go through the rest of the spring and through the summer and getting ready for the fall. Questions?
You said after the bowl game that you needed to recruit a different kind of player, especially defensively. What kind of player were you looking for defensively in this recruiting class?
Yeah, we weren't quite as fast as we needed to be this year on defense at all positions, and mainly the defensive line position. we wanted to get a rangier type of kid to play inside at defensive tackle. We needed to add linebackers, losing Greg Blair. We needed a middle linebacker, and lo and behold, we get a Kevin Muhan, a kid that may be the best linebacker in the country, that was going to the SEC and decided to come here and play with his brother. And we're very fortunate that happened. So, again, the one thing you have to, that we will build our team on is quickness and speed. I don't care how big they are. I don't like to bring in players that have to lose weight to play. I don't believe in that. I believe in bringing in tall, rangy kids that already have athletic ability, and then give them the ability to get in the weight room to gain weight, gain strength, and keep that athletic ability and make plays. We didn't quite have that on defense last year. No, we're pretty good on defense. I think we ended up in the top 10 in the country. We can be much better. This group that we brought in this year on defense will make this football team much better in terms of speed and quickness.
So you plan on having them play and not necessarily redshirt, or does it depend on how things work?
Yeah, they always ask me in the home when we're recruiting, we're here on a recruiting visit, Coach, am I going to redshirt? No, not necessarily. It's up to you. If you can come in and help, we'll play. We'll let you play. A lot of them figured out pretty quick, that a little different coming into college and looking at those guys in front of them and the depth and how much they've got to learn. But some in some positions can come in and play. Defensive linemen, they don't have as much to learn. It's a lot easier for them to play. But I would say out of the 25 that we signed, the guys today and the guys that we brought in a couple of weeks ago to start the spring semester, I'd say about half of them really have a good opportunity to help this team next year. We're not going to redshirt somebody just to be redshirting them, but at the end of the day, if you can redshirt, as we did last year, 15, 18 kids, then that's really going to pay off for you in the long run, because experience and older age kids at the end of 4 or 5 years really helps your football team.
How do you feel about the inroads locally? You got one from Cincinnati, who's a good one, but there's like 7 or 8 total from Ohio. You feel pretty good about what you're getting there? Do you want more? Where do you feel?
We've made some progress in the state of Ohio this year. Now, we wanted to take more. We offered more. We didn't obviously get what we wanted. Some went other places, but that's going to happen. But the thing that I'm more impressed with our coaches and with the guys that we went out and tried to recruit and the high schools is we made a lot of progress with the high school coaches. They know us a lot better. Last year at this time, they only had a couple of weeks to say, hey, who are these guys? Well, how are they going to treat our kids? And now they can see what type of program we run, how we're going to run it, the type of person that I am in terms of philosophy, what we want to do on offense and defense, and we're going to come to the schools whether they got players or not. I don't want to be one of those coaches in this state and this surrounding area that goes when they just got a good player. All of my coaches have part of Ohio. They all have a part of the surrounding area, 50 miles, and then everybody else has an area in the state of Ohio. So we want to hit it very hard. We want to be diligent with that. We want to give the players from this state that want to play at the University of Cincinnati the opportunity to do that. Now, whether they can or not will depend on how they play and then how we evaluate them. But the whole thing that I think we've made the strides with this year is just selling our program to the guys in this area, the coaches in Ohio. We competed with all the Big Ten schools. We competed with Ohio State, all of them. And we were successful. I think we got the best player in the state. I mean, the best player in the city. And Tyrell Gilbert. I mean, he's going to be a dynamic player for us. He's going to be able to play a lot of positions. But there were a lot of other good players we would love to have been able to get to and been able to recruit. They went other places just because they chose other schools. Not that we didn't give them the opportunity.
Coach, you got a lot of players here from the southern part of the United States. And you mentioned a couple of kids that flipped that were SEC commits. How much does your reputation help you in that area of the country with the success you had in the SEC?
Well, it helps. Obviously, I know a lot of people in this profession. I've been around. I've been in a lot of high schools. I know a lot of these high school coaches. I flew down yesterday to Macon, Georgia, to be around 350 high school coaches just at a luncheon because I knew we were going to sign 3, 4, 5 kids from the state of Georgia today. Georgia's going to have to be an area for us to go recruit. And so I went down there and ended up getting the late flight and had to drive back 8 hours in the snow. That wasn't a lot of fun, but those things pay off. they pay off in a lot of ways. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but 3 years from now, it might pay off. But you have to build relationships with high school coaches. A lot of those coaches next year might leave and go to Florida, and they might have players there. So it's all about sales and going out and selling yourself, your philosophy, being around them knowing you as not just as a coach or a guy they see on TV, but as somebody that they can call you by your first name and understand that, hey, you know who they are, what they've done, and the type of coach that they are.
You've been doing this as long as you have and experienced it, I'm sure. Do you still enjoy this part of it? Those kind of moments, traveling, meeting families in the living rooms, that kind of thing?
I really enjoy recruiting. Now it gets old, and it really got old this year, because we did it the old-fashioned way. We did it by car. We tried to commercial fly to some places, but some of the places that we were going to had a little ice and snow that they weren't used to. So we burned the roads up and took some chances, but we made it to all the homes, met parents. And, it was a little bit more difficult, but this was an unusual year. Hopefully next year won't be quite as hard travel-wise, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed going out and seeing the coaches and being around them. And we talk football. We just don't talk recruiting. A lot of times I'll go into a high school at 3 o'clock. We won't leave till 7 o'clock at night because, hey, coach, what about this defense? Or what about this play y'all run? Explain to me. And so we talk football. And so it's all about getting in and being a normal person, a guy that, hey, we're not just here to recruit your player. How can we help you? And so I enjoy those types of conversations and relationships. And I think all my guys here, and I tell them one thing, hey, build your relationships. Don't worry about recruiting. It'll take care of itself. You got to sell yourself first. And if you can do that, it makes recruiting a heck of a lot easier.
Is it a lot different now? The perception as being outside the Power 5 conferences, the recruiting would be tougher for you. When you go in and you have a kid, and I see some of these kids on the list who had offers from Power 5 schools. So I guess maybe my answer is no, it hasn't been different, but did you run into that kind of negative recruiting with that?
No, we've probably had, out of the 50 or so kids that we brought in here for official visits, probably 10 or 12 that said something about, hey, what conference you going to be in, or we'd rather be in one of the bigger conferences. They want to play, number one, and they want to play where they can win games. And you can look at last year. My son even said this. He plays Auburn. He said, Dad, y'all have been on TV more than we have, and we were. We're on TV a lot in this conference. All of our teams are, which helps. Now we don't have the big TV contract the rest of them do, but we do get the publicity, and the kids see us on television, and they do know that, and they hear quite often from me and from the other coaches, and when they come here for visits, and the parents hear this, and the coaches hear this from several people. Cincinnati has won a lot more games than 99% of the other teams across the country in the last 7-8 years, and they like to win games and go to bowl games, and we're going to do that. So I think the biggest thing for us is, and obviously everybody's talking about conferences, we keep winning games. Everything will take care of itself, and it really took care of recruiting this year. A lot of our players, and of course we let them know when we're going to be on and when to watch and what to watch for. And I think they take that personally. They like that. They like to know that coaches are on top of them watching games, and it makes for a good relationship with players.
Aside from the winning and the exposure you just alluded to, was the stadium renovation a big part of your sales pitch? Because obviously it's all about facilities these days.
Oh yeah. They're about facilities, and there's not many people got better facilities than what we have. And I know we're in a close proximity here of the middle of campus, but that's been a big selling point too. The parents really like that. They like the dorms are close, the classrooms are close. New $100 million athletic complex, the Shakley Center, everything's close to where they feel safe with their, they send their kids here. But the stadium expansion has been a huge advantage for us, and we've obviously got drawings, we've got videos that we show them, and they're excited about playing at Paul Brown next year. All these guys have the chance to go into a pro stadium and put that on their resume in their career playing high school or in college football. So there's a lot of great selling points for us this year, but it all goes back to playing and winning games, having an opportunity to go to bowl games, be on television. A lot of schools use it against us. They're not in one of the major conferences. all they, you know, I always said, turn around and ask them how many games they've won in their conference. And all we did, we turned it on them, and it usually worked pretty good for us. So it's all about selling what you have, and that, you know, we don't get negative. What we try to do is we stay as positive as we can about what we have and what we have to sell and what we can do for a young man to come here and get an education and learn and grow up as a young man and play college football and win a lot of football games.
So how would you, excuse me, how would you handicap the guys you have at the quarterback spot going into spring football at this point?
We had to get to the quarterbacks. I knew that. You know, I talked to some of the receivers the other day, and, you know, I asked them about the two young quarterbacks. Well, the one young one, Hayden Moore, is going to be a good one. I watched him play this year. He's kind of a fish out of water. He's 18 years old here, looking around, throwing to the receivers and stuff on his own, and he's going to be a good quarterback. Jared Evans is a kid that I've had my eye on for a year, and he reminds me a lot of Munchie. Jared is probably a more proficient passer because that's what he's done more in his life is throw the ball. But he can really run. He's got a lot of speed, a lot of quickness. He's almost 6'2", 180 pounds, and I want him to be about 195 next fall. Now, saying that, if you look at Gunner from the time he got here to now, he's gained about 15 pounds. He's huge. He's looking more like a Ben Roethlisberger type of quarterback. He's very thick, and he's really throwing the ball well. He had excellent bowl practices. Remember, Kay didn't practice about 3 times for the bowl game because of injury, and Gunner got most of the practice. And so he's much, much better in terms of knowing the offense than Jared, but there's going to be competition. And so we have him, we have Benny, that will we throw into the mix. And so when we get to spring ball 3 weeks from this coming Friday, there's going to be a lot of competition. So we're looking forward to that. It's always important to have good competition at quarterback. And I know Gunner is probably the heir apparent because he's been here, he knows what's going on. But he's going to feel a little pressure from Jared Evans coming in and being able to do the things he can with his body. He's more of a Russell Wilson type of quarterback, but taller. He's not quite as thick.
Is there anybody you were sweating this morning, waiting on their letter?
Pardon?
Were you sweating anybody this morning, waiting on their letter? Was anybody had you nervous that it would show up or it might go somewhere else?
Well, there was one yesterday. We knew we had a battle with Georgia, and we lost him to Georgia last night. But and of course, we sweat all of them, especially the ones we've been having battles on. They commit. It still doesn't, you know, a lot of times it can flip the other way, so you kind of worry about them all. And very unusual. It's the first time I've ever missed an opening morning of a signing date. I was in Lexington at the Marriott trying to get out of the ice and snow. I couldn't make it all the way back last night, so we're on the phone and making calls as myself and Blake Rowland coming back and trying to fight through the snow, get back to the fax machine. But yeah, you do a lot of sweating the last 3 weeks, and you get to that final day and you're so numb about getting on your knees and begging and talking to people and all those things that you kind of just, hey, let's get this thing over with one way or another. But yeah, we lost some battles, but we won a lot of battles. We won more than we lost, which was it's what you want to do every year. You're not going to win them all.
How did the Kevin Lujan thing come about? I know his brother's here and all that. He committed to Tennessee. That it just one of those things where closer and closer to signing day, he wanted to be with his brother. Did he come to maybe some of the games and start liking what he was seeing? How that
a little bit of all of it. The thing, Kevin, we're fortunate to get him on campus last summer for camps. And I didn't say this, I should have said this. Most of the kids that we signed, we had in camp last year, which helps because we can evaluate them personally and physically and watch what they can do without shoulder pads and helmets. But you have a lot better idea. Well, Kevin was one of those, and he came, and I coached linebackers as an assistant for like 12, 14 years. And when he came in, he's big. He's big for a linebacker. He's thick. And I'm thinking, and I don't know about linebacker, but when he started running and doing all the drills and things, I'm saying, we've got to throw our hat in the ring for this guy. And of course, soon after that, he committed to Tennessee. But we don't quit, and especially on a kid that's got a brother on the team. So Silverberry was probably our better recruiter. He was pretty relentless. Now, Kevin came to games here on campus and came for an official visit and had a good time. And as time went on, I think he just got feeling more about, hey, I'd like to play with my brother, because a lot of people don't get to do that. And so I think family won out in this situation. So we're excited. I'm really excited knowing that, you know, for a few years now, we got a linebacker that we can put in there that he can run. He's a very smart kid. He understands football. He's a quarterback playing defense. And we're excited about that. He's going to be an exciting player here for the Bearcats.
Anything else, guys?
All the early enrollees are good to go for spring ball.
The early ones, yeah, they're ready to go. The early ones, just looking back, Lyndon Stevens, he's from Fort Union. He's kind of like Mike Tyson was last year. He's a very fast kid. He's a guy that's got to come on for us. We got to have a corner, and we've got some guys that are back. We need more depth at corner because last year we got beat up a little bit. But he's a guy that has to come through for us. So he's got an extra spring to get ready for, you know, for fall next year. I think he understands what's going on. And coming from a prep school, he's a year older. You know, he's like being a sophomore in college, but he's just now starting his 5 years. So we're really excited about him being here. And then Marcus Tappan from Glendale College, he's got 3 years remaining. He could redshirt. He's got 4 years to play, but he's a young guy that's here on campus already. He's a linebacker that will probably play outside linebacker that got a lot of speed, quickness, and we needed a guy like him to come in and with a little bit more maturity to go through spring practice to help our defense. Again, this is going to be a good football team next year, and we don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, but I think we got all up here. We got to get them in the right spots in the next 6 months, and so we start spring ball 3 weeks from Friday. Actually, we're probably going to start 3 weeks from tomorrow. Move it up a day because we want to be in pads on Saturday, and you have to go shorts for 2 days. So we'll start 3 weeks from tomorrow, and where we have some kind of scrimmage and actual practice for all the high school coaches that are here. We'll have 200-300 high school coaches here for our clinic, and so we'll start spring ball right around the corner and have it done and have a good long session of off season after that lifting weights, trying to get bigger and faster going into the summer. Any other questions?